And now to the Eastern Conference. Starting with the Bucks, one person comes to mind: the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. This last year's reigning MVP is once again putting up incredible stats on only 31 minutes a night. And luckily for him, he has a great supporting cast around him as a championship contending team. To name a few: Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, the Lopez twins, Wesley Matthews, and Kyle Korver. They have solid defensive ability due to their length and have the scoring of Giannis and Chris Middleton to lead the way. They are, as of right now, running away with the East. Their record, by the way, is even on pace as of right now to threaten the best regular season teams of all time, so we'll keep track of that. But regardless, the star power of Giannis with a nice supporting cast around him will most likely prove to be them going to the Eastern Finals. Do remember that the East is deep, but the West as a whole is better overall, so you don't need two proven superstars in this conference to be a top-tier team. But anyhow, if Giannis can step up his game when they need him to, and everyone performs according to plan, I predict them to make the Eastern Conference Finals fairly easily, especially since they will clinch the number 1 seed and will face easier teams early on. Now to the second-seeded Raptors. Surprisingly, even with the loss of Kawhi Leonard, a top 2 or 3 talent in the league, they are still the second seed with 40 wins as of this recording in 55 total games. Their new superstar and first-time All-Star starter Pascal Siakam has taken his game to new heights as their new clear and established leader. They also have their same championship-winning core intact from last season, being Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol on the paint, and Fred VanVleet and All-Star Kyle Lowry on the perimeter. They still have tremendous length in their wing positions as well, in recently acquired Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Stanley Johnson, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam leading the charge for them in that department. They have the scoring kick off the bench from Fred VanVleet and good length for rebounding and defense. I can honestly say I am blown away that they are still this good after just having lost a top 2 or 3 talent in the league the season prior. However, even though Pascal Siakam has vastly improved, and with them having finals experience, I don't believe it's quite enough to make the Eastern Finals. It will ultimately be extremely close, but with their head coach in Nick Nurse, combined with their experience going for them, I would not be surprised at all to see them with a second consecutive Eastern Conference Finals berth. Looking at the third-seeded Celtics, they are a very interesting team to say the least. With no one true established scoring leader, they have 4 players averaging 17 plus points a game and 3 players that are averaging 20 or more. That, if you think about it, could come in handy if one of their top scorers was having an off night. However, defensively, with the deduction of Al Horford from their roster, that will prove to be a huge loss for them come playoff time. They do have great defensive ability at the wing positions, however, in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Gordon Hayward. Also, having Kemba instead of Kyrie Irving has appeared to solve all locker room issues with the team. They also have tremendous overall shooting ability and also the inside scoring with Enes Kanter. Their bench consists of guys like Marcus Smart, Semi Ojeleye, and Daniel Theis. Their issue is not offensively, but defensively. Enes Kanter simply cannot guard the rim, and regardless of their great perimeter defense, their complete lack of rim protection will, again, prove to be critically harmful towards their team's success in the playoffs. I'm confident they will be a second-round exit, nothing less but also nothing more, due to their defense lacking in the paint and also not having one established player who can take over a game scoring-wise for them. The fourth-seeded Heat are an interesting team as well. They have 2 All-Stars, being Jimmy Butler and first-time All-Star in Bam Adebayo. They also have amazing scorers and also shooters in Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and newly acquired Jay Crowder. They also have good rim protection in Bam Adebayo and great wing defense in Jimmy Butler and also recently acquired Andre Iguodala. They are a very complete team with no weaknesses, except that they have no superstar player, but they do have 2 established All-Stars. They do have one of the better benches in the East, however, with guys like Kendrick Nunn, Derrick Jones Jr., Myers Leonard, Kelly Olynyk, and the bench players I mentioned earlier. They have balanced scoring across the board, but no insane rim protection or superstar to take over a game when they need it to the most, So with all that said, I believe they will be a first round exit with a lack of playoff experience, also aka if they match up with the 76ers in the first round, but they do have the ability to make the semifinals and prove me wrong. The 5th seeded 76ers have proven players in their star point forward Ben Simmons and superstar center Joel Embiid. They also have a tremendous surrounding cast in players such as Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, and Al Horford. They have excellent rim protection with Embiid and Horford in the middle, and great wing depth and defense with Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, Matisse Thybulle, Mike Scott, and James Ennis. They also have an incredible scoring punch from multiple players, as they have 5 players averaging 12 points or more. Just like the Celtics, if one guy can't fill the void that night scoring-wise, multiple others can kick it into high gear. However, unlike the Celtics, Philadelphia has a proven superstar center in Joel Embiid, and although he doesn't have super deep run playoff experience, he should prove to ramp up his game when his team needs him to come playoff time. They also have excellent shooting ability, with even both their top 2 big men being able to knock down threes, which can open up the lane for drives, and also guys like Furkan Korkmaz and Tobias Harris, who can spread the floor very well. With all this said, I believe their horrible experience losing last year in the second round to Toronto, along with their new acquisitions and overall and overwhelming depth, will be what ultimately propels them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now to the Eastern Conference Finals matchup of the Milwaukee Bucks and Philadelphia 76ers. Now, as I mentioned, if the 76ers and the Raptors meet up in the second round, that would be an absolute bloodbath. They match up extremely well with each other, and this was honestly the hardest matchup in this video that I'd have to judge, but I do believe the Sixers will be motivated to beat them if they do match up because of last year. However, do understand that each team's path from both conferences is another factor when determining if they make the finals or not. For example, the 76ers could exert a lot more energy having to beat the better Miami Heat than the Raptors playing and defeating the worse Brooklyn Nets. Also, the 76ers and Raptors may not even match up with each other in the first place, which can affect the outcome even more. Just know that this video is me attempting to show you guys my opinion of which teams have the best chance at winning the championship, and leave it at that, even though I am making honest predictions here that you can hold me accountable for in the future. But now, to my wildcard team in the East, the Indiana Pacers. They have a first-time All-Star in Domantas Sabonis and former All-Star Victor Oladipo leading the way for them, along with guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner, and TJ Warren as support for their stars. I don't believe they're in a top 5 contender tier for the East, but with extremely balanced scoring and a decent depth for their bench, that could allow them to surprise a lot of people come playoff time. But for now, to the Bucks and 76ers. This matchup for me will honestly come down to how dominant Giannis can be for the Bucks, and for the 76ers, if their bench can overwhelmingly surpass expectations. If Giannis becomes unstoppable and puts up numbers we've never seen before, the Bucks could very well be on their way to a series victory. However, the 76ers have rim and wing protection, which could prove extremely useful when attempting to slow Giannis down. The 76ers also have great scoring ability because they have multiple threats of scorers who could score 10 plus a night. If Philadelphia's bench and overall defensive prowess exceed expectations, I do expect Philadelphia to win. But what I honestly believe will happen is that Giannis will put up playoff numbers we've never seen before and lead his Bucks to a finals berth. He will of course need help to get there, as guys like Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, and the rest of his bench need to step it up come playoff time, but I'm sure that they will. I predict the Bucks to win in 6 or 7 games, also because their home court advantage might help mightily as they play extraordinarily well at home with a record of currently 25-3, not to also mention that the 76ers are horrendous on the road at currently 9-19. So finally, what you've all been waiting for, my personal prediction for the 2020 NBA Finals matchup to what I believe will be the Los Angeles Clippers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Right from the get-go, no one team really stands out between the two. Even though the Clippers have 2 superstars in their own right, it is an overall team battle that will decide this fight. Going off the 2 regular season games these two teams played, the Bucks won both times. However, this of course is not truly representative of how both teams will perform come playoff time, especially due to pressure, also injuries, and other factors. But the Bucks would have home court advantage, and as I said before, they are phenomenal at home. For the Clippers though, they have multiple guys who can attempt to guard Giannis, aka PG, Kawhi, etc. The Clippers' one main weakness, however, is matching up with the Bucks' bigs. Both Lopez brothers proved to be a nightmare for Montrezl Harrell in the 2 regular season games they played so far. Aside from Zubac, the Clips don't have a solid big that can match up well with the Lopez twins size-wise, which could make a difference. However, what I think it will ultimately come down to is, can the Clippers stop Giannis? And when I say that, I really do mean that. This will be the deciding factor. Although there are also many other factors that come into play, this is what I think it will ultimately come down to. If the Clippers can stop or at the very least limit Giannis to under 30 points a night, I think they will win in about 6 or 7 games. But if they don't, a Bucks championship banner will forever hang in their rafters. What I personally believe it will be is ultimately a 7-game series either way. It will be very close, seriously. But what I believe to be the case in the end is that the Milwaukee Bucks, by sheer dominance and leadership from Giannis, will grow from their mistakes last year and ultimately win the 2020 NBA title in 7 games. Feel free to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Also, leave your comments down below on who you think will win the NBA title this year. But anyways, this has been Deluxe Gamer here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, peace.